Hey, hello and welcome to the show. It's me, John Park, and this is JP's product pick of the week. First of all, apologies for the late start. Something was going funny with some of the streaming services actually launching, and I don't think we're going to have Facebook with us today. I tried, but I'm calling it there. So tune in if you can over on YouTube or Twitch or LinkedIn Live or possibly some of the other places that we have this broadcast headed. But today, Facebook isn't one of them. So what do we have going on here today? This is the show. This is my product pick show. I've got a brand new product and I want to show it to you. I want you to go to this URL to check it out because, first of all, you can watch the show inside the product page. We stream it from right in there. If you like, if you choose, you can watch it right in there. And we have a discount on today's product that is 50% off. No coupon code necessary. Just throw it in your cart, up to 10 of them, and no resellers allowed. It will be at this price during the show. So for about the next 20 minutes or so, we'll talk about it. You can decide if it's something you want, and you can get it for a hot price. So let's see, who am I talking to? We've got our Discord over here at adafruit.it/Discord. And thank you everyone for stopping by over here. Yanisku7 and Blitz City DIY, Todd Bott, Paul Cutler, Thin Man, Squid.jpg. Hello, thanks for stopping by. And over in our YouTube, I do have that one available. That's the other chat I can check out. Hello to Dave Odessa, Beatagraph, Avdal Hagen, Robert Cochran, Trickman01, and Tyrone Mix. Thanks for stopping by. So, before I say any more about this week's product pick, I'm going to, first of all, adjust my audio because I'm peaking it. And then I'm going to have Lady Ada tell us about it from her new segment on Ask an Engineer. So please, take it away, Lady Ada.
Our HSTX to DVI adapter board. So we had the RP2350 Feather come out a couple weeks ago, and people were like, what's that thing on the end? It's an HSTX connector. And they're like, what does that connect to? And I'm like, this DVI board that I have to finish and get out. So I finished it and got it out. If you have you have a Feather RP2350 and you want to display graphics, maybe not like video, but like, text or animations on a HDMI monitor or display or anything that has DVI input, could be a projector, could be like a video game system, whatever. This board will take that connector and turn the FPC into a proper DVI port, which you can then use with HDMI. And it doesn't do audio, it just does video. But what's cool about the RP2350 is that HSTX peripheral, which is a new peripheral, it wasn't on the RP2040, lets you do DVI output graphics without using a second core and without using a lot of PIO, because there was a hack to use the RP2040 to generate DVI, but you had to overclock it and you had to use you use DMA and the PIO and a second core. And it was a lot of work. It was a little overwhelming. And what's cool is now there is a little piece of silicon that does it all for you. You don't have to overclock. You don't have to use a second core. You don't have to use PIO. You can point it at the buffer and it kind of does a lot of the work for you. So in this case, is a CircuitPython demo. We're displaying 240 by 320 pixels, 16-bit color, and they're pixel doubled. And that we do that so that the output is 640 by 480, which is the minimum legal DVI HDMI resolution. You can also do true 640 by 480, but you're only going to get 8-bit color or 4-bit color. Because you just don't have enough RAM on the RP2350. Maybe with PSRAM, we'll be able to get more colors and higher resolution. But still, this is usually something which you need like a full Linux compatible board for, but now you can do it with just your Feather RP2350. So yeah, it has level shifting, I2C, clean signals, mounting pads. You just need the cable and your Feather RP2350 and you're ready to go.
Indeed it is. So hey, look, that's it right there. That's my product pick of the week this week. It is the RP2350 HSTX to DVI adapter. This uses that beguiling little FPC connector that's at the base of our Feather RP2350 and a flat ribbon cable. I'll show you a demo in a second. And we can, in fact, if we head over to the web page for it. You'll see one right there in action. I'm going to reload because we just threw a bunch of these into stock. So we had, I think, 100 stashed, as well as the 33 that were sitting there before the show. So should be plenty to go around. Throw it in your cart. You get it for $2.25. It's a pretty neat way if you're already in possession of a Feather RP2350 or you're thinking about getting one, to make use of this exciting new peripheral that's on that chip only. So as Lady Ada mentioned in the past, you could use an RP2040 along with a bunch of, or all of the PIOs and one of the cores and overclocking. There were some cool tricks, and you could get DVI output that you could plug into an HDMI monitor. This now, with the RP2350, is a more dedicated high-speed transmission line. That's what HSTX stands for. It has, I believe it's 4 differential pairs that are designed to send that data at speeds that are high enough to make that kind of monitor happy, or the one I've got down here for my demo. If you take a look in the product page, you'll see there's a couple of choices there that you can just add to get a 10 centimeter or 20 centimeter FPC flex cable, like you see there. Obviously, Feather RP2350 sold separately. If you scroll down, we have a link here to the primary guide, and I've got that pulled up right here. So thanks to Liz for putting this together. You can see it's got a full-size HDMI connector, which I really like, actually. I know there's little mini ones and micro ones and all that, but I kind of like just having, it's the cables that I have the most of. So a nice regular size HDMI cable will plug into there. And this gives you a little bit of info about it, and then we can go to the pinouts page for more details. But as you can see, there are a whole lot of pins, 22 pins that come off of that peripheral, and you can see a bunch of them are dedicated to this differential data. There is also I2C data that is used to query the EEPROM on some HDMI monitors that can give it information about the different resolutions it has available and other data. And this tells us a little bit about some of the other more sort of side case, fringe case uses, like the CEC connection, which is a remote control function, so you can do some control of HDMI televisions over DVI ports as well, and there's some jumpers if you want to use those, or the HDP. You can also take a look at a nice example that we have of using the Feather RP2350 with our 22-pin HSTX to DVI adapter board, and in CircuitPython you can send some images over to an HDMI monitor. So if you take a look at this example, you can download that project bundle. It'll come with an image that you can use and some sample code. What I did is I just used that as a starting point and added some of my own images and some different resolutions and things. So I'll show you on the small little monitor I have sitting right here first, and I'll also show you it'll display on that bigger screen that's behind me. So here, let me grab my code window so that I can play along. So right now I have this image that is a 320 by 240 BMP, and it is stored with 16-bit color, so decent color depth. And I am displaying it as native, in this case, 320 240 16-bit. I should say that's the image I'm using, that's how I'm processing it. It actually gets pixel doubled over to the monitor because 640/480 is generally the smallest that an HDMI display is going to accept. So I have a 320 240 16-bit going in, it's got a 640/480 coming out. If I want, I can throw different images at this. I've just got some different images named here. So how about, let's do this one here, Circus. Same thing, I'm going to send a 320 240 image with 16-bit color up to the display. And I think I will, now that you've seen the little board there in action, I'll get a little closer to it. Sorry for the glare. And let me fix my focus on that real quick. So you can see it does pretty well with gradients. There's quite a few gradients. Actually, I have a photo I took the other night at a famous neon sign in LA, the Circus Liquor store. So you can see there's some gradients there at 16-bit color depth. It does okay. Not great, but okay. If we want to go up to the 640-480, we're going to get more detail but less color depth, so it's a trade-off there. Generally a 320-240 is going to be just faster to deal with I/O wise. So if I want to, though, in this case I have an on-disk bitmap that's 640-480. I'm going to tell my Pico DVI frame buffer that I am using a 640-480 at either 8, 4, 2, or 1-bit color depth. So I'm going to choose the 8-bit version first. So if I save this, we may get a little detail, more detail pixel-wise. We're going to get a little less color accuracy there. And you can drop all the way down to something like a black and white or a grayscale with that. So here's a grayscale version of it. It does a nice job with that. Looks pretty good. We can also, if we go one further, we can head down to 640, 480, and it's going to be black and white, which also looks kind of cool. Sinister clown there. And let me switch to this monitor back here. So I'm just going to unplug that HDMI cable and plug in. This is a little Dell HDMI monitor. Power that one off. Okay, so you can see that showed up right behind me. I'll go to this view real quick, and I'm just going to update that to the full color 320-240. So that is my little list there. One. So hey, look, there's the Circus Con Liquor, and I've got some other images that I saved to disk that we can pop up. Here's a kind of neat cafe scene. And here's a little cappuccino. So I didn't do anything other than, I don't have a fancy slideshow or anything like that, but as you can see here, I've got some images just saved onto disk that are easy to flip through. So we'll go back down to this city image here, and I will plug back into the monitor in front of me. Turn that back on. Change over to this view. And I'll just talk about the code a little bit here. So you can see I'm setting up Pico DVI library and then a frame buffer I/O and a display I/O. We're releasing the display. We're setting up our on-disk bitmap to pull from. Here's my little list of different resolutions and color depths that I wanted to try out. And then we're setting up the frame buffer as the X and Y dimensions that are stated up there, so either 320-240 or 640-480. And then we have all of these different pins that are called out over the FPC cable from the 22-pin peripheral on the HSTX peripheral output. And those are sort of hardwired. Those are the pins you're going to use for this. And then whatever color depth we're using. We set up the display to show the frame buffer. It's a tile grid to just show that one image, and we append that group to display I/O and show it, and then you can refresh. So this is really basic code, but pretty much any of our display I/O types of code that you want to display on this, you're going to be able to. And you've got, pull out here, a neat little way to do this with a inexpensive little setup that's going to be a lot simpler to deal with than something like a full-blown Linux single board computer. So for certain things like slideshows you want to throw up there. Right now, our examples are in CircuitPython. I don't know for sure, but I'm going to guess that there will probably be some versions of this setup, hardware setup, that will work eventually in Pico SDK or MicroPython or maybe C or Arduino. So no promises, just if you want to get it for what's out right now. And I haven't done an exhaustive check on the internet, but if you look, you may see some examples that people have done. This is the one sure thing right now, is that you can use this with CircuitPython. And then add all of the goodies you want. It's a Feather board that I have plugged into it, so you've got all of the STEMMA QT connection to add outboard peripherals and things like that. So basic example, but it is pretty cool that we've got this up and running, and your processor is free to do a whole lot more than the previous iteration of this under the RP2040, where pretty much all it could do was output that video. So now we've got the dedicated peripheral for that. And you should be able to do a lot more with your microcontroller. Let's see, what else? Am I forgetting anything about... yeah, those are all the important stats and specs on that. I'm going to check the chat. Looks like some discussion on if you use Pico SDK, the Pico DVI library has been updated for RP2350 and will work with this HSTX thing. Thanks, Toddbot, for posting a link in the chat there, over in the Discord chat. So this is, I believe Ren6991 is a developer at Raspberry Pi, and they've usually put out some of the first examples of some of these types of DVI shenanigans on the board. So this is Ren6991 Pico DVI, and you can see it is now updated to run on the RP2350. Thanks to Todd for pointing this out. And yeah, Retired Wizard also says that the RP2350 has extra RAM, which give you a lot more elbow room as well. So you should be able to coax more out of it there. Squid JPEG said, kicking themselves for not getting a couple RP2350 feathers when they were available. I think those will be back soon. I don't know what the exact date on it is, but we sold through our first, I think, batch or two of those, and probably have another larger batch of those headed to production or in production. So you can, if you want, go to the page for that feather and just type in your email address and click notify me, and you'll find out when that's available. So $12.50 for that feather when it's available, and right now, today, $2.25 to get yourself one of these here breakout boards. So armed with those things and an FPC cable, you can plug into HDMI monitors and do some neat stuff. Speaking of which, I'm going to replug into that one behind me so we can see it a little larger, and then we will finish up. So, by the way, I will say sometimes when we have an item that's out of stock, you can find it at other vendors. Particularly DigiKey is a good place to look. So I'm not sure on that feather, but if you wanted to get it right away, you could check over at DigiKey to see if they have that particular feather. All right, I think that will wrap it up. This right here is my product pick of the week this week. It is the RP2350 22-pin HSTX FPC to DVI video HDMI output converter adapter thing for doing stuff like that. All right, thanks everyone for stopping by. For Adafruit Industries, I'm John Park, and this has been JP's product pick of the week. Bye-bye.